Hey guys, welcome to today's video. Today I'm giving kind of an update. I haven't posted a video in a while and I figured it was time to get on here and share what's been going on. All right, so I have just really been disconnected and intentionally. I've been off all social medias now for almost 3 weeks. Like deactivated my accounts, don't have the apps, like don't have anything. I really wasn't one who was on it a lot. And so even in my mind, like not even being on it a lot, but still like wasting so much time, like mindlessly scrolling, really was like, why am I doing this? And I really was like, what benefit am I getting out of being on social media? And I was really only on Instagram and then kind of Facebook. And Facebook was more for like, I thought I needed to be on it for like my kids' school and different groups and things like that. And I just was like, what? I'm not getting anything out of this. Like everything on here is just people, I think, trying to make themselves feel better about life or fake information or negative things. Like that's really all social media is. Um, Mostly. There are some good things. Instagram, I obviously really liked connecting with like my YouTube community. So there was a lot of you that I would chat with on Instagram. But other than that, and like recipes, that was like my last holding point, was like I love getting new recipes from Instagram. So that was like my last like holding little strand. But other than that, like I said, those other things, like it was just, negativity or false information or buying things. And I'm not on here to say like I never shared links to buy stuff, of course, and I will still do that. But that's all my feed was like buy this and buy this and buy this. And, that's not feasible for anyone, and it shouldn't be feasible for anyone. That's very irresponsible, and we don't always need new things. And so, anyways, I have just been completely off social media, and with that, you just find different things to occupy your time. On the same note, like we've just been very busy. And I hope this isn't your first video you're watching of me. I hope if you're watching this, you know some of the things we've gone through. And so we've moved cross country out of state twice in the last year. Um, our kids were homeschooled for the past 5 years and they just transitioned back to public school. And we are now living in a state where we have a lot of family and my kids have cousins. And so we are just good, busy, just enjoying life. And I think that's really where I think your phone and social media come into play. Is like if you're maybe not enjoying real life and you're looking to fill some voids, I think that can be a good disguise, but nothing replaces the real thing. And so that's what I've been doing. I've just been like living life. And I started going on walks in my neighborhood. We have a really big neighborhood we're living in right now. It's like to walk around the entire neighborhood, it's 2 miles, and it's just beautiful, and there's trees. And so I've been doing that every day, like super intentional about doing that. Spending a lot of time when my kids aren't in school with them, whether it's just picking them up. I now have like a 2-hour round trip almost every day when I do school pickups. So I don't do school drop-offs in the morning, I do pickups. And because we have kids in different schools, it takes about 2 hours to do that. So like that's a big part of my day amongst my work. So I'm still working full-time from home. And so just kind of adapting to that new schedule. And then I have 3 kids and they're in activities after school. And so we have volleyball, we have gymnastics, we have soccer. And so just like really trying to like keep up with that. And then the time I do have with my kids and with my husband, just being really intentional about that time. It's also been a lot more just like planned. Like if you look at my calendar, like there are things planned, especially in the next coming weeks. Like we just have so much coming up soon. We have lots of family coming to visit us week after week. We have birthdays, and my husband and all 3 of my kids' birthdays are about to come up. We have family birthdays and we have holidays. And so Obviously we're busy schedule wise, but also just like on a random Saturday, like what are we doing today? I don't know, let's go do this. And just being very like, I don't know what that word is. Like unplanned, I don't know, but doing stuff like that too, and just kind of being available for those moments, like, hey, we're gonna go have family dinner over here tonight, like just very easy, all those things. So that's kind of why I've not been on YouTube, because when you separate yourself from that, I've really been questioning, like, why am I sharing my life online? And I'm not trying to be rude, but it's like a weird thing for me. Um, and what do I share? And obviously, you guys know I shared a lot of our homeschooling journey, and we're not homeschooling anymore. And so that piece isn't going to exist. And that piece actually started going away a while ago because I don't want to share my kids on here. And so how do I talk about my life when most of my life revolves around my kids? And, you know, homeschooling was a way to kind of do that, but now it's like, well, not really going to get into their public school and their stuff. I mean, they're growing up and they're becoming, you know, older kids, teenagers, soon to be adults. And so like, it's not my place to share their life with you guys. And so I hope you all can understand that. And, you know, like I said, I just don't have the free time I used to, and I'm kind of grateful for that. You know, I have so many things to go and do and be in this real world. And, you know, I think when I had stepped away from social media, it was in a really negative time. Like, you couldn't go on any platform. Even now, I'm sure if you go on any platform, it's really negative, and people are always like going against each other. And, you know, I think every side has valid points and valid arguments, and I think every side is wrong, and I think every side is right. And so I have a really hard time when people are black and white and it's this way or no way, because I'm not like that, and I don't think the world is like that. And so social media and our world really wants you to be one way or another way and pick that way, and you have to go with everything that way. And so when you're in the real world though, like if you're not in social media and you're just like going to the store, you're just, you know, running errands, or you're going to an event, you know, realize how different it is than like your phone makes it seem to be. There are people that I encounter every day where we may not have the same morals or the same values or the same beliefs, but we're not like attacking each other in like a public setting, and we're actually getting along. And it may be because I need this service and they provide that service, or, you know, whatever the case may be. And, you know, it's okay that people are different, and it's okay. And I think when you get out of that whole like social media box and you're just like understanding like humans need other humans and they need different humans. Like if we were all the same and we all believed the same thing and thought the same way, it'd be pretty boring. So yeah, I've just like been like in this weird, like, I'm enjoying not being on social media, so why would I? And I feel like YouTube is a little bit different than most social medias. I feel like YouTube is very valuable as far as like you can learn a lot of things. Their long form videos are much more like intentional and better for us than short form videos. And so that's kind of where like I struggle. And I do enjoy making videos, I enjoy editing them, it is like a creative outlet, and I feel like I do things, not that I think I do everything right or perfect, but I have found things that help me as a mom, as a wife, as a working person, as an adult who's doing this life for the first time, and that I can share with other people who may be in similar circumstances. I enjoy watching people, and I enjoy watching all different types of things on YouTube. And so I guess I'm trying to figure out, what do I want to share? Do I still want to be on here? And what value am I bringing to you guys? Because when I posted my last video about us transitioning out of homeschooling into public school, one, you know, I felt I needed to close it out, because obviously if I never said anything and I never talked about homeschooling again, there'd be tons of questions. So I feel like I just needed to wrap it up. But I got a lot of positive comments, so I don't want to come on here and say like, oh my god, it was horrible, but I lost over 500 subscribers from that one video, which may not seem like a lot to you, or it may. That was pretty wild. And I've made some controversial videos before. Just to lose 500 subscribers because I made a decision for my kids was pretty wild. Especially when I could see who some of the people were that were commenting, and they were super negative. They have been watching my videos for years, and I helped them, and that's what they had said in previous comments, like, thank you so much for making these videos, you helped my homeschool journey. So just because I changed the way that my kids were going to be schooling for this year, everything before that to you just means nothing. It's almost like, and that's in my head, right? Like, I gave you a lot of good advice and I helped you on your journey, and then to just walk away, it's almost like walking away from a friend. So it's really weird to me that people are so quick to do that on social media, and it just reminds you how fake social media is. And it's not just us as content creators that can be fake, it's the viewers too. So I think I had a little bit of, I don't want to say hard feelings, it's pretty hard to upset me or like hurt my feelings, but it really was like, okay, so then why am I doing this? Like, if I'm not allowed to share what's truly going on in my life, because I'm not faking it and I'm not lying about what's going on in my life, then why am I here? And then, I had to like sit back, and this is like something that every content creator has to go through. Like, for all the negative comments, you're also getting positive comments. And so I had to, like, there was hundreds of positive comments where it was like so supportive and so nice, and a lot of you are still here, and I'm thankful for that. And that's, I think, why I continue to show up and want to share. And I have picked up the camera a lot over the past few weeks, and I've tried to film things, but I just haven't been able to like really get into it. And so I think I'm gonna try to restart now. I kind of wanted to talk about that and just explain like where my head's been at and where I've been. I also kind of had some medical stuff going on again over the last couple weeks, so that kind of just like took me out. So I'm feeling better now. Those of you that have been around, you may remember last summer, so a year, I finally realized like these lifelong stomach issues I've been having was actually something different. I got diagnosed with something called adenomyosis, which is where like your uterus tissue can grow into your muscle walls, and it's an inflammatory disease, and it can be extremely painful. I had done so good after learning about it and researching it, and not wanting at that point to get a hysterectomy, because hysterectomy is the only cure, and I didn't want to go that route. So I was just very, very intentional about how can I live with this, and I was doing a lot of good things to where I didn't have any flare-ups, and that's what I'm like referring them to where like days I would be out for the count, and just excruciating pain. And for some reason, this last month was the first time I had a flare-up in probably like 7 months. So it's almost like you forget how bad it can be. And so that was pretty, I don't want to use the word devastating, but like pretty upsetting, because I thought I had it under control, which, like I said, the only cure for it is a hysterectomy. So like you really can't get it under control, but I thought I was managing it well until that happened. And now I'm back, because it does coincide like with your period. That's the difference between adenomyosis and endometriosis. Endometriosis is a lot more commonly talked about. That one you can have pain all the time because the tissue can grow at any part of your body. What I have is strictly in my uterus and only inflames during my period. And so that's why I'm only in pain for that time of month. But I am back to completely like obsessing, like, when am I going to be on my period? Because when I'm on my period, I'm out, I'm down. Like, and so when we have people coming to visit us, when I have work trips to go on, like, it is very like hard for me to function when that's happening. So I'm just kind of like back in that like negative mindset with that, unfortunately. And so I do need to like get back with a doctor here and start talking about some like permanent solutions. But that also kind of took me out and, you know, wasn't really fun to be filming and things like that. Okay, so with all that, so just there's my little update. I wanted to give you all an update on my kids going to public school. So I know I just said I don't want to talk about them, which I'm not going to get into like specifics, but some of you did ask me questions when I still had my Instagram. I had asked, what questions do you have specifically about this transition and the change? And so I did want to answer those. Okay, so the first question is, how are they handling the longer days? They're handling them just fine. I was really worried about that, especially for my youngest going into first grade. Not even the long days, but just like having to listen all day and not be able to like eat snacks when you want and whatever. And then like my oldest getting up super early, so she has to leave the house at like 6:45 in the morning. And then my younger two leave around like 8:45. So for them, they're normally up that early, but the long days they have had no issues with. It was actually funny, the very first week of school, I remember I'm like, oh yes, they're gonna be so tired when I pick them up. They were not tired. They had like more energy than ever before, and I was like, what is going on? Now that we're like into like normal flow, like I think the excitement has like weared off. They are fine. Like they have a lot of them have activities after school, and they go to those just fine, and they play after school with cousins, and so the days are completely fine. I also think their schools do a really good job of like throughout the day, like breaks and stuff. Like I know my first grader gets 2 recesses, he gets lunch. So I just feel like they're pretty good at like what the schedule is for them. The next question I got is, am I keeping all my curriculum? So what's really funny is I deleted all my social media, and all I did was take all of our curriculum and just stack it up in our homeschool room, and I don't really go up there. So the upstairs of our house is just my 2 daughters' bedrooms and our homeschool room. I really just walk up to my daughter's rooms like randomly, but I don't go in the homeschool room, so it's kind of like out of sight, out of mind. But this last weekend, I was like cleaning out stuff, and I saw all this curriculum, and we had just bought all the curriculum for this year, and I'm like, oh, I should sell that. And then I'm like, oh, you don't have Facebook anymore. How are you going to sell this? So I don't know. I want to get rid of it. I don't want it. And even if we go back to homeschooling next year, I would need different levels. So I don't know. I don't know how I'm going to handle that yet. Someone just commented, we did the same thing. It's been good and bad, but a lot more good. Prayers. Yeah, so I was very anxious in the beginning. I had issues adjusting to teachers and not knowing what curriculum they're being taught and not being able to help them. And that was like really frustrating for me, because like my daughter would come home with math homework and I'm like, I don't know how to help you, because I need the teacher's guide. I need the answer key. I need someone to explain this to me. And, you know, thankfully, because that's my biggest fear was my kids were homeschooled. So they need to adjust, and the teachers don't know this. I mean, I did tell some of the teachers, and you know, the curriculum is just different. So we used stacks and math, and I did not teach my kids core math. Is that what it's called? Core something? I don't know, Common Core. And so I was very nervous about that. I know my daughter is great at math. My oldest daughter, she is a freaking math rock star. She's actually doing a higher level math at her school. So I worked with the counselors and showed them what math she had been doing, the curriculum, her test scores, and they actually put her in a higher level math because her plan is to graduate early. And so to do that, she needed to be in a higher level math than she would have normally been in for her grade level. So knowing I did that, I felt like this extra pressure, like, okay, she's struggling, I'm struggling, what did I do? Oh my gosh. But in reality, it was just kind of the teacher. I don't want to say the teacher was the issue, but the teacher just needed to kind of understand how the entire class needed to learn better. So it was not just my daughter struggling, it was the entire class, and all the parents were complaining about the homework that was coming home. And so now that we've worked through that, doing awesome. I can help her with her math homework. The teacher is being very helpful. The way that they're teaching the lessons a little bit different. And that made me feel good, that I wasn't heard, or that the other parents weren't heard, and that our kids aren't just gonna fail. And that's what I've noticed now, like months in, they are not out to like get our kids to fail. They want them to do their best. And so yeah, that was like the biggest struggle. I think was just me adjusting to like, I'm no longer teaching them. I don't know what curriculum they're using, especially for my older daughter. So she has 6 different classes, 6 different teachers, and she is made responsible for a lot of her stuff. And like, I can log in, I can see every assignment, I can see all this stuff. So I have a lot of oversight, but you know, she's having to manage this. And so definitely an adjustment, but she dealt with it much better than I did. And I'm doing a lot better now with that. And then the other questions are, can you just update us after a while? How are they liking it? Are my girls finding it easy to transition? So yeah, so like honestly, they transitioned way better than I thought they were gonna do. Just because it was different. It was different day to day. It was different workload. But they really are all doing great. And I think it's been very beneficial for them and me, you know, just kind of having that break and being able to focus on work and not feeling that guilt of them not having anything to do. I will say hands down, they were all more than advanced because of homeschooling. So I think they were getting a much better personalized education at home, and that's because they had one person having to teach them and could go through concepts. They are now competing with, you know, multiple kids in a classroom, and so a teacher just can't physically give every child personalized attention. So I will say that I think they got a better overall education. I think my oldest daughter understands math so much better than her peers because of the curriculum we used. And so that's a little worrisome, I guess. But I think, you know, like for my oldest daughter, because she has those things instilled in her, I think she'll be okay. I do kind of get a little worried with my younger ones because I'm like, obviously my first grader, no, I didn't have enough time with him. But my 5th grader, I'm like, you know, we were just kind of getting into like really like core math subjects like algebra and stuff. And so we'll just have to see how it goes. But yeah, like everything else, like they are all so proud of themselves. They're getting like straight A's. They're all very like organized with school. And so I think homeschooling actually really prepared them well. Like as much as people may think that you're not prepared, they all transitioned extremely well and are doing much better than even their peers who have been in public school. And so, you know, that could be too, just like different factors, right? Like I'm still the same mom I would be if I homeschooled or public schooled. And so my kids still have my oversight all day, every day about everything. And so we're still doing homework together and we're still talking about things and, you know, planning and keeping them on track. And, you know, so I don't know how much of it like is really like just parenting in general. I could see how you could just be completely removed as a parent if your kids were in public school. In certain schools, these schools really do want a lot of parent involvement. And so like every day I'm getting texts from teachers specifically about my kids, like this needs to get done. What about this? What do you think about this? And so I do feel very connected to them and their schools. And you know, they're telling me everything that's going on. So yeah, overall it's been really good. Like I feel a lot more at ease with the decision now. Obviously there's still always thoughts and concerns and worries and all the things, but it's the same thing you feel on the other side. So when you were homeschooled, or when I was homeschooling, the doubts, am I doing enough? Am I preparing them enough? All those things, it's just a different set of worries, but it's the same worries. And I think that's just standard as a mom, as a parent. Like you're just always worried if you're doing enough or if you're doing the right thing. And unfortunately, you're never gonna know. But, you know, I can just tell in my kids' like overall happiness, they are doing good being out and interacting and getting involved. They're really all super involved in their schools and they're all really wanting to do well in school and do well with their teachers. And so that makes me happy. Obviously, if there were ever any signs of them like not wanting to go or not being themselves or not being happy, then that would be obviously a bigger concern, but none of that. you know, they're even like eating school lunch, which is so weird. And so yeah, it's been going really great. It's we adjusted, you know, we have new little daily routines now, and yeah, so that is kind of my update. If you have more questions, or if you have specific videos you would like me to start making, please leave those down below in the comments. I think going forward, I will be doing like meal planning and prepping and like dinners and like school lunches. I'll be doing vlogs, daily vlogs and things like that. I'm going to try to incorporate reading back in once I actually start reading again. So whatever you guys want to see, leave that down below in the comments. And yeah, thanks so much for watching. Thanks for you guys that are still here and supporting my channel, because I'm still me. Same person that made hundreds of homeschool videos, still me, still have the same thoughts and opinions and values and all those things. So I appreciate you guys, and we'll chat soon. Bye.